At this time, I'd like to call to the table Mr. Bradley.Ayers and Mr. Robbie.Lee. Gentlemen, thank you. Had the opportunity to meet Mr. Ayers yesterday in a meeting in Lake Charles. And Mr. Lee, welcome to the state capitol. And if who would like to go first? Okay, if you would, we'd like to ask both of you when you speak, just identify yourself so it'll be on the public record.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Bradley.Ayers, A-Y-E-R-S, with Suddenlink. I'm the Senior Director for Government Affairs for an 18-state region for our company. And I want to first thank you for holding this hearing and for also in organizing the meeting in Calcasieu Parish yesterday that was well attended by all the educational and local elected representatives there. It was really, it was a good learning experience for us. It was a good chance to continue to grow relationships, and we really appreciate that. In response to efforts to get you the best information possible today, I wanted to bring our Regional Vice President for Suddenlink's Mid-South Market, which is Robbie.Lee. Robbie's been on the ground since day one here. He didn't actually wear his muddy boots in today, but we got him to come over, and I think you're going to find that he's very familiar with all aspects of the operation and the cleanup. And Robbie, if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, committee members, and legislators, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to appear at this hearing. My name is Robbie.Lee. I'm the Regional Vice President for Altice USA's Mid-South region, which includes our Suddenlink operations in Louisiana. Altice is proud to provide cable television, broadband, voice, and other services to residential and business customers in 21 states, including approximately 150,000 subscribers in Louisiana, primarily in the hardest hit areas of Lake Charles, DeRidder, Leesville, Pineville, and Alexandria. We understand the critical nature of connectivity to our customers and the communities we serve, and we are absolutely focused on delivering the highest quality product to our customers in the state. I want to say from the outset that we take very seriously the need to restore service as quickly and safely as possible. As a Category 4 storm, Hurricane Laura was the most powerful wind event ever to impact our state, completely destroying large portions of our network. In many cases, we will need to entirely reconstruct our infrastructure at a tremendous cost. By the end of September, we will have already spent over $50 million in order to bring services back online. To do this, we have more than 1,000 team members on the ground, with more coming, working around the clock to restore service throughout Louisiana. We are also bringing physical resources from outside the area to assist with restoration efforts in the hardest hit regions. As is typically the case, our recovery efforts are directly linked to the restoration activity and timeline of other utilities, and restoration is an ongoing process. In Hurricane Laura, the vast majority of our customers lost commercial power, which impacted their ability to receive our services. Additionally, the power loss impacts our network directly and at the infrastructure level, both when our network loses power and where we have physical infrastructure damaged by the storm. This interconnectivity makes the engagement and support of power utilities critical to our restoration. Even where storm damage is addressed through temporary repairs, we will need to continue working closely with power utilities to make permanent repairs to our network. In spite of the destruction caused by Laura, as we sit here this afternoon, Altice has restored service to approximately 70% of our Louisiana subscribers through the efforts of our employees and contractors who have worked tirelessly to identify and begin repairs to the nearly 4,700 miles of fiber optic and coaxial plant in the state. At the storm's height, only 15% of our subscribers were online. So while there is tremendous work left to do, we want to acknowledge the progress that our crews have made so far. It is also important to recognize that these men and women are working around the clock in difficult conditions, including the ongoing pandemic, and traveling great distances to complete these repairs. They deserve a tremendous amount of recognition for their hard work and sacrifice. Our efforts to prepare began well in advance of the storm based on national weather reports of the likely path of Hurricane Laura. We activated the processes reflected in our severe weather preparedness plan, which outlines protocols for each Altice business unit to prepare for and to respond to severe weather events appropriately. Our company has deep experience dealing with these events throughout our footprint every year, and we are constantly active and alert for the threat severe weather poses to our systems. The plan's objectives are to protect employees and customers, minimize outages, and restore service to customers as soon as possible. In anticipation of Laura, we activated employees, prepared resources to allow us to begin assessment and restoration as soon as it was safe. We also believe that an important part of any recovery plan is effective communication with customers as well as key stakeholders, including government officials. The company began communication to customers and key stakeholders prior to Laura's landfall, and we have continued to provide regular updates on our progress to impacted customers via email, SMS, on social media, and on our customer-facing web page at suddenlink.com/storm. We have also provided regular updates to government officials via emails, calls, and in-person meetings. In addition, we regularly coordinate our restoration efforts directly with state and local OEMs and have been in direct coordination with our utility partners. Close coordination is essential to restore connectivity to communities throughout Louisiana, and we have been aggressive in our efforts. Finally, Altice also understands the impact of this terrible storm on our customers across Louisiana, and particularly communities such as the Lake Charles area, DeRidder, Leesville, Pineville, and Alexandria. In these hard-hit communities, we will provide full service credits for customers who have experienced prolonged outages due to the extensive damage to our network. For all customers who contact us, including in areas where the majority of customers have already had their service restored, we will provide credits appropriate for the time they experienced service disruption after commercial power was restored. We are also extending the window where they can notify us to 60 days and no documentation will be required. We have also suspended late fees and collections activities in the hardest hit areas while we deal with storm recovery. Further, the company is accelerating its reopening of retail stores closed due to the coronavirus pandemic wherever possible in Louisiana to better serve customers. Altice values our partnership with the customers and communities we serve as we look for ways to assist the community in its broader recovery. In addition to committing the resources to rebuild our network, we have also made donations to support community recovery, including $50,000 to the Community Foundation of Southwestern Louisiana and $100,000 in free advertising time for the Red Cross. In conclusion, I want to assure the members of this committee and your constituents that Altice is working tirelessly to restore service as quickly and safely as possible. Thank you again for the opportunity to share this testimony, and I look forward to your questions.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Lee. Mr. Ayers, anything you want to add, or?
No, sir, if it's okay, but I'd probably rather get to questions, just
Okay.
knowing the great interest here.
Okay. I'd like to recognize in the audience today a representation from Senator Bill Cassidy's office, Mr. Brian McNabb. Brian, thank you for being here. I will tell all of our legislators that Senator Cassidy and I have talked extensively about this. As you know, cable companies are regulated not by a Public Service Commission, but by FCC on the federal level. So Senator Kennedy's office reached out to me also a day ago. Senator Cassidy has personally been involved with me on conversations, and is going to be involved on the federal level with our efforts to get to the root of these problems. So At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Mike Francis to come up, and from our Public Service Commission, I think he has a quick statement. Gentlemen, if y'all would let Mr. Francis just have a seat at the table, I'd appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mr. Commissioner, welcome to Joint Commerce, and we're always glad to see you.
Well, thank you for the invitation, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman. Thanks to all of you for your public service. You know, sometimes it's a stinky job, but somebody's got to do it, and I'm glad to be part of that and trying to do my part. At the Public Service Commission, we regulate monopolies, and electricity is one of the main things that we're here to talk about today and tell you some of my ideas. Senator John was right in the heart of the destruction of this storm, and so I've got a question for you, Senator John. How was your response to the service of the electricity people during this storm after the aftermath?
I have one word: miraculous.
Okay. I'd say excellent, but miraculous is great. And so, and I'm proud of that. In Louisiana, the electricity bill this year will be $7 billion. And your Public Service Commission is the one who watches over those folks and works with them, works in partnership with them. We've got 10 co-ops and 3 investor-owns that we regulate. And this body has a lot of horsepower in Louisiana, represent all of our folks. I have 17 parishes in my district, from Manny to New Iberia, from Johnson Bayou to Jonesville. And about 15 of those 17 parishes got hit hard. And I've been all over looking at that, and we've been overwhelmed by the calls. We get a few complaints about electricity, but the internet situation, the telecommunications industry is where we've gotten all the calls, and people think we regulate them, and we don't. It's not a monopoly. It's supposed to be competition, and that's what's going to serve us. I think we need to ask ourselves a question: is this really the way that we need to regulate this telecommunications industry? So my statement to all of you folks is this: if you will give this job to the Public Service Commission of Louisiana and let the folks of Louisiana regulate it, I promise you those 5 commissioners will deliver the service to you, Commissioner, just like we did with electricity. So that's my short, quick statement. I'm proud to be your servant as Public Service Commissioner and also Chairman this year of the Commission.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, and you have been boots on the ground with us. You've been calling religiously and asking and meeting with us, and we greatly appreciate it. I would love for the Public Service Commission to have this industry. I'm not so sure that can legally happen, but we're exploring those ideas, I can assure you. And it would give me a lot of comfort if our people here in Louisiana had oversight over this industry instead of people in Washington, D.C.
One of my fellow commissioners is here, Eric Scametta, and also our Secretary Brandon Fry, and they have quite a bit more experience than I have at this. But yeah, you may want to ask them. But, so thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Scametta. Commissioner Mr. Scametta, thank you for being here today. And Mr. Fry's put in a card and for information should we need him at the table.